some guys go back to college to do that because they feel comfortable there. Obviously, you have a father and an uncle who played plenty of Major League Baseball. Who did you kind of go to for once it became, all right, now let's kind of start working off the mound? Where did you go there for the offseason?
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky to have some really good sources with my dad, with the Rangers, and then with Vanderbilt. Coach Scott Brown there, the pitching coach at Vanderbilt, is the best of the best in my opinion. So I was there. I was in Nashville working out at Vanderbilt, and I was bouncing ideas off of, pitching coordinators here, pitching coach at Vanderbilt, and my dad, obviously. So it was just a really good way to roadmap my off season and go into what were the best things for me to work on. And how can I, make myself the best and most prepared pitcher I could be going into camp, and that's kind of what I felt like I did. Super productive offseason.
Jack, I went to your first game in Frisco last year, and it was a packed house, man. It was a great environment too. And I was kind of curious, did you see that everywhere you went, or did it kind of taper off after that? And did that affect kind of how you pitched throughout the year at all?
I mean, it's obviously different in terms of like the hype around the games. It's a step down from the SEC is minor league baseball. You don't really get it much better than SEC baseball until the big leagues. So that's one thing is, the adrenaline isn't always kicking the same, and you gotta work your way through these things and learn about yourself. And I think I learned a lot about myself. So just feel much more prepared overall going into another season.
Now, you mentioned working out in Nashville. What do you think about the kind of evolution of Nashville into becoming the bachelorette party capital of the country over the last few years?
There's lots of sashes. Yeah.
Nashville, yeah. I mean, it's gotten super touristy, but that's just mainly just the downtown area. There's a lot of areas in Nashville that are kind of the local kept secrets, I think. So there's a lot of layers to Nashville, and it's a really great place to spend an off season. I think a lot of guys are catching on. There's more and more, it seems like, every year.
There was a shocking amount when I went up there of people who hang out on rooftops in the downtown area. I was not prepared for how many people are just like, let's just chill and drink out here.
On the rooftops.
They did everywhere.
We don't have a lot of Dallas rooftop bars. Yeah. We need some more of
Every
those.
country music star had their own bar, too, and I was like, oh, okay.
It's the touristy part of Nashville.
Yeah, absolutely. And we definitely got sucked into that part.
So you get drafted second overall this last draft. Your teammate Kumar Rocker gets drafted third overall. I don't know y'all's relationship at all, or if you guys are going to be playing together this season at all. But is it kind of cool that you guys could be back together again?
Yeah, it's awesome. Just to see that familiar face, and we both had a lot of success on the same pitching staff in college, and I think we made each other a lot better. We have different personalities and different kind of ways to attack things, but I was able to learn a ton from him, and I think he learned some things from me too.
When you say y'all made each other better, were y'all competing against each other? It's a friendly competition, but were y'all kind of competing? Like, he went out and shut a team out, now I got to go do the same thing. Was that kind of what y'all did at Vanderbilt a little?
In a way, yeah. I mean, you're always just competing against the other team, obviously, and I think anybody who's been on successful pitching staffs would say that you want to be great, you want to be the best, and you want everyone else to be the best too. So that year we were fortunate enough to both have some really solid years, and it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun when things are going well for the whole pitching staff. So you root for them, and then when it's your turn to go out, you want to go out and dominate.
Now, real quick, we talked to Al last year, and one of the first things he told us was let him grow. Don't because we were excited. We were excited that you were here. We're like, man, this is a lot of fun to see what he's going to do. And he was like, let him have his development. And so we watched that and observed it throughout the year and everything. And now the Rangers go out and get a bunch of top-tier pitching, and there's a little bit of a gap now where maybe you have a little more time to develop. Is that kind of the feeling, or is it like, no, I got to still get to the majors as quickly as possible?
I mean, you still just go about your business day to day, and I kind of trust that when I'm ready, and I hope to be ready soon. It'll be they'll give me a shot, and that's what I'm looking forward to most, and I'm doing what I can do, and that's just take it one day at a time and keep getting better.
I like your answer just because when I was with the Mets, they brought in David Cone after I had a pretty good year in the major leagues, and I remember that moment after spring training was over and I didn't have the best spring training going, you know what? I didn't concentrate on what I needed to do. I was looking at my competition and saying, well, if I can just do better than them instead of saying, how good can I be, and looking at others. So, I mean, I've been through it, and your dad was one of my mentors and really helped me with mental things and tried to help me also getting guys out. But I just remember that moment, and David Cohn was a great guy. It just – don't concentrate on the others. Concentrate on me, and I loved your answer there.
And that's the thing about pitching too. It's not catching where there's one guy out there. There's always movement in a overall pitching staff, and you just do what you can to help the team, and hopefully that can be soon.
Kevin, I'm kind of curious. We asked the question yesterday to John Gray. Do you like to strike somebody out looking? Or do you like to throw a junk ball? Yesterday I said hit them in the junk, but that was not.
We kind of messed that up.
I was way off on that. We throw a junk ball.
He established authority yesterday with the second pitch.
Yeah. Or do you like to get somebody when you're like throw one in the dirt and they're like, I swung because I just didn't know what was going to go on?
I think it's always nice to get a strikeout swinging, whether it's breaking ball in the dirt or beat him with a heater that he swings and misses at. That's kind of more of an empowering thing, I think.
But to go ahead and put he hit him in the junk and he struck out would also be something that I think you can say, I did it. Not a lot of people have done that.
I'm not totally sure about the physics of that, but I would love to see it go down. I really, really would. Now, you were talking about focusing on what you focus on. I am curious, is that tough to do with the fans? Because I know you've heard it, and this is not breaking news to you, but when you got drafted, we are not the best organization at developing pitchers, and people are like, oh, he's going to be the next guy. He's going to save us, and Kumar Rocker is going to do this. I'm sure you've heard that. Does that add to your expectations, or are you already like, I know what I expect? Like, what other people expect, I can't control that.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said that my expectations for myself internally are really, really high. So if I'm not meeting them, I'm going to be disappointed, and if I am, I'm going to try to keep going. So there really aren't other external expectations that are anything higher than what I put on myself. So there's nothing that really takes me off guard. And, when I'm underperforming, I expect people to, be a little upset about that because I'm upset about it.
I know you got to pitch with the pitch clock last year in Double-A, and we're watching it somewhat for the first time in spring training. And I noticed a Dodger yesterday against Justin Foscue do something that I never thought of. Foscue called timeout, and so he didn't have any timeouts left. So the pitcher came set at 10 seconds and held for 8 seconds. Knowing that the hitter cannot call timeout, the runner on the base now has to just sit there for pretty much 8
Heavy
seconds.
Feet, yeah.
And I was just thinking, wow, I never thought of that strategy of after a hitter calls a timeout of holding the ball that long and the hitter can't call timeout to stop play. I'm wondering last year in Double-A, were there different things that we just as fans don't know of yet because we're not following Double-A games on how to manipulate clock situations?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Last year in Double-A, obviously, we didn't have the pitch comm, so a lot of it was getting your sign, and I think there was some clock-related stress on my part from, I hope we can get through this sign sequence, especially with the guy on second before the clock hits 0, especially if I'm going to shake a couple times. But now with the pitch comm, it kind of fixes that. I'd never used it, and I'm actually really liking it so far with just the pitch comm telling you what pitch to throw, because you could do it before you even get on the rubber. So I think there is more strategy involved now once you can come set and have a lot more time left. There was a lot more times where I was coming set and I kind of had to go last year, but I did see that yesterday, and that's an interesting strategy because I have always liked, a long hold to mix it in there.
Now, we need to come up with a new rule to help out pitchers because they eliminated the shift to try to help out the batters, and I'm just like, if you can't figure it out, that's on you. Yeah. Like, work on that better. What would be a pitching rule we could potentially have to help balance it out?
I mean, they don't usually like to add rules to help pitchers. It seems like all the rules are.
Are you the defense of football? You're like, yeah, I can't. So we got to make more offense and make it pop and everything like that.
It seems like that's the trend, but. I don't know. I got to think on that one.
We'll raise the mound a little bit more, just a little bit. Well, yeah.
Raise the mound a
little bit,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what could be cool for you and our audience. They probably don't know too much about Anthony Volpe. Am I saying his last name right?
Volpe.
Is you guys were high school teammates, and he is a premium shortstop prospect for the Yankees. That could be really cool. I was just thinking if you guys probably are going to get to face each other at some point in your careers, but could you imagine if you both somewhat made a debut at the same time and you got to face your high school teammate?
It'd be awesome. Yeah, I mean, we've dreamed on that. I mean, playing on the same team in high school, we dreamed about playing on the same team at the highest level, but playing against each other is the next best thing on a big league field in front of a big league crowd. So it's something we could dream on. Rangers, Yankees kind of thing. That'd be really cool.
And when did you guys start playing together?
Freshman year, high school.
Okay.
I'd known him from just the travel ball circuit through middle school. He was a big deal since he was like 12 years old. He was always the kid hitting all the home runs as the little guy. And then as he grew, we both went through all the summer circuits together, roommates at pretty much all those events in high school, and then both committed to Vanderbilt. Both really had a strong commitment to Vanderbilt, and he was a really good student, probably better than me. And he wanted to go to Vanderbilt. His family wanted him to go to Vanderbilt, but he grew up a big Yankee fan, and I think they sold him on, first rounder. That's cool.
Correct me if I'm wrong here. I remember watching the ESPN 5-10-minute series with you and your father walking around Vanderbilt. This is before you get drafted. And I think your father at one point said something like, hey, keep your eye on Jack. And I don't know what age you were, but were you a late developer? It seemed like in that ESPN thing that it kind of made it sound like, I don't know if it was 14 years old or 16-year-olds, that you're maybe a late developer to become such a big-time prospect.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't even think I was going to be a pitcher at first. I was just hoping to play college baseball, and
Wow.
I was a second baseman. Freshman year, still kind of, freshman year of high school, still kind of the smallest guy on the teams, playing second base and pitching when I could, and then I really hadn't pitched much other than working on it with my dad in our backyard. And then sophomore year kind of hit a growth spurt. I always had a good arm for my size, and then I grew a couple inches, and I think sophomore year I might have hit like 87 that summer, and that's kind of, that was a good enough number to get put on the radar. And then going into junior year, I think that's around when I committed to Vanderbilt. But it did feel late at the time. Now it's like, sophomore in high school, that's a young kid, but at the time, there were kids committing in 8th grade, 9th grade, and I didn't have much at that time.
Does everybody who goes to Vanderbilt call it the Harvard of the South? Because I've heard that about 1 million times when people commit to Vanderbilt. Do you call it the Harvard of the South?
I don't. I think I've heard that. I've heard it about Duke. I don't know. I don't know who it would really be, but it's definitely a challenging academic school, and I liked my time there.
Very cool. Very cool.
How close are you to graduating?
I'm close. Hopefully I can work it out to where I can graduate this December, but I don't know how likely that is, but getting there.
Business degree? What are you looking
Business minor. The major, it's called Human and Organizational Development. It's only at Vanderbilt, so it's one of those you have to explain to everybody, but it's sort of businessy.
Yeah, I was trying to
You
figure
gonna run
it
a
out.
hotel? Yeah, or something? That's what, yeah.
He's organizing humans is all I got out of that one right
He can
there.
help our hotel. It has this smell, and we got to get rid of that smell in that
It's just in the
hotel.
hallways, Mike. It's just in the hallways.
Well, we appreciate it, and hopefully you won't need to put that degree to use for a good another 15 to 18 years. You
Yes,
got
sir.
other plans. We
Throw it in the
appreciate you
drawer.
jumping on. Yeah, absolutely. You can put it up on the wall or whatever. Yeah, your parents would appreciate that. We appreciate the time very, very much, and as I'm sure you know, the Metroplex is very invested and very excited for your development.
Thank you. I appreciate it.